Quiet on the set. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. Welcome to Mondays with Myrt, where we talk about anything and everything that comes across our desk and has happened in the last, well, we usually say week, but there's a few things that have happened in the last 2 years, huh? Anyway, I hope those of you on the YouTube side will share the link and encourage people to subscribe. This is exactly where you will be able to see Mondays with Myrt every week. Now, when I say week, we are working in 6-week segments, then 2 weeks off, then another 6 weeks, and then 2 weeks off, and that's what we're doing. All right, I've got a couple of co-hosts here today. I'm going to bring Hillary up on the stage and have you join me for a little bit here. And also Ed Thompson's here. Thank you, Ed. You too, and Daniel will be joining us shortly. They are keeping me on track here in StreamYard. Let me talk a little bit about what's going on. I mentioned StreamYard. That's this place where the panelists meet. Now, there are also panelists who are working the YouTube side because it's all about the conversation. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know that I said I was retiring. Who knew that our dear cousin Russ would pass away or that Mr. Myrt would need me? He's better now. We're going to have segments with news you can use. We're going to introduce a new series called Genealogy PIs, or Private Investigators. And what I plan to do is after the 90-minute Mondays with Myrt, I'm going to be cutting out individual segments of the show and making them short subject videos. Same thing on the YouTube channel. Each week or so, we're going to have a special guest. Ours will be somebody special that I just met, and I'm quite excited to introduce you to. Also, if you've got software questions, we had one submitted. We will try to answer 1 or 2 software questions. We don't know every piece of software, but we try. One of the things to tell you is that including everyone is important to Old Myrt here. Now, in the past, I've always said we recognize the International Decade for people of African descent. And that, for me, is not going to expire in 2022 just because the United Nations is no longer, well, of course, they're recognizing it, but this has been their focus for the last 10 years. Everyone is welcome here to talk, to discuss what's going on, regardless of, their age, where they're from, etc. I just want to see conversation. And I'm seeing all kinds of 51 different comments going on out there. Let's see what's happening on the YouTube side with comments. I'm going to pull this up and we'll pull in a comment or two. Louis Kessler's out there. Hi, Valerie. Wow. June is there. She's reminding you all to put your thumbs up. Sue Tolbert is there from Oklahoma. There's one of our panelists. She says it's kind of chilly in Florida. Cynthia's here. She's a cousin of mine. Yeah. Hi, Paul. You must be back in California. I loved hearing about your cemetery trips over there in Texas. Oh, wow. Frank is on the backstage right now. He will maybe jumping in and joining with us. He's one of my returning panelists. Sherry is a new panelist, but you all remember her from some of our mini Myrts, especially. What's going on? Oh dear, there's so many things to talk about. I sent a note out to you. This is really cool technology. I can pull all your comments in, and I can make a comment within StreamYard and send it out to you. Kind of an intriguing possibility. Ed, I especially want to thank you for helping people with the fact that when I set this up, there was a time change here in the US. Did the Canadian folks, let me pull, if you'd pull Steve up and also our Daniel Loftus, I want to ask Steve up there in Canada, maybe Ellen can answer that question. Does daylight savings time switch over with you all in Canada just as it did with us here in the US? I don't know. I do not know. All right, we've got so let me ask Daniel. You made it, kiddo.
Yes, I did, thankfully. Well, obviously we haven't changed times yet, so it's 1
Okay.
hour sooner than it would typically be for me at the moment.
There's always a bit of an adjustment. I wish we didn't do daylight savings time. Let me also give a hat tip to Hillary, our gal in Wales. She, like Daniel, is also returning. Thank you, Hillary, for being here.
Yeah, like Daniel, we haven't changed yet because we're both in the same time zone. We're on what you class as UTC or what was called GMT at one time. So
you got it. You've got it. Okay. And then Ed is here. Now, I especially want to talk about who Daniel and Ed have been for Old Myrt. When the decision was made to take down my blog and my YouTube channel, Daniel retrieved and archived all of those videos. That was not an easy task, and all of the blog posts. And I'm gradually going to be reinstalling or re-upping the study groups and some of our good Wacky Wednesdays. Now, Ed, I want to acknowledge him because he taught me more about how to use WordPress and use it as my website. And while we're speaking about that, let me pull it up. I'm going to share my screen and make this full screen. And it just takes a minute here to do that. Entire screen, here we go. Okay, this is the website that Ed helped me build. And just yesterday, he added the calendar. And it's not just what Old Myrt's doing, it's also what our panelists are doing. I really like the color scheme matches, and I like the pop-up when you do the rollovers. And I've scheduled everything for Mondays with Myrt through the end of the year, so you know whether or not we are on or off that particular week. At the home page, this is going to be pinned always. How to attend Mondays with Myrt. This is just a little bit of housekeeping to keep you aware of what we're doing. I added this because Ursula said, what's going on with the time zone differences? Well, the timeanddate.com is really good because you can put in your time zone and mine, which is Seattle Pacific time zone, and it'll tell you what time it is, especially since we're going to have a guest in the future from Australia. What's particularly important is that you get the opportunity to meet our new and returning panelists. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. If you look at this list of panelists, and I mean, I had to pare down their bios because they're so talented. We've got people that speak multiple languages. If you have Norwegian ancestry, of course, we're going to be talking with Liv a little bit later today. Yeah, we got you covered. Michelle's another one that is able to help with Eastern European. Of course, we've got Pat Kuhn, Opinionated. I'm just looking over some of these. I know Sherry's out there on the YouTube side. Yeah. And I especially want to give a shout out to True Lewis. She and I have been friends for a long time. And she's, you know her because she has worked with Nika Smith and done a bit of work over there as her co-host. And she's working the YouTube side for us today and training some of my hosts. About half of them that are available will be on the YouTube side specifically to answer your questions. Okay, is there anything urgent coming up in comments? I think we're doing okay.
Yeah,
Most
nothing
people
that-
saying, yeah.
Everyone welcoming you back.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's wonderful. Thank you. All right, well, let's get on with the show. I'm pulling up Trello, which is what we use to keep track of things. We're giving them this link to the, and I'll send it out here. I can actually do this. I can send it out myself. Well, there goes the one for Elizabeth Schoen Mills. But let's talk about RootsTech. So we'll pull up Randy. I want to know how many of you went to RootsTech. I would, Mr. Myrt and I went. Yeah, I gotta bring this up. Yeah, RootsTech is basically the largest family history conference in the world. I would say the numbers for in-person attendees weren't as high as in the past, probably 15, 20,000. But at one point, they had 1 million unique individuals who were tuning in. Somebody's giving me some feedback. We might try something there. Okay, good. I want to pull this up and share my screen. Randy, you appeared on screen. You were at RootsTech after all. And I will share my screen. I about flipped when I saw the emulate tube. There we go, entire screen. Okay, can you pull up my share screen, please? Thank you, Hillary. Should be coming up. Somebody else is sharing their screen, and I would ask that they not. Okay, there we go. We'll get the hang of it, guys. There we go. Much better. All right, let me zoom in on this picture. You're going to get a kick out of it. Here I was tooling around in my little electric wheelchair at RootsTech. I came across Emulate Me booth in the exhibit hall, and who did I see but Randy? He was there. That is the documented evidence that you were at RootsTech, Randy.
My avatar was there.
Yes. All right. And we've got something else of yours to share. You've done a great thing because people who didn't attend can benefit if they read your blog post. So talk to me about this.
Well, first of all, I made a mistake and thought it was 2024 in-person syllabi that were there. It was really 2023.
Oh, okay.
You do things quickly.
Yeah.
And so I just learned today that it was 2023 when I went to look at it again.
So eventually they will have.
So if you go to the rootstech.org website, which is there, and then click on the RootsTech event up at the top, and down at the bottom is in-person syllabi.
Yep.
Okay, so if you click that,
okay,
then it says 2023. So from there, you can then bring up the screen of a specific syllabus. There's about 160 there, I think.
Yes.
And you can bring up the screen, and and see the syllabus, and you can download it using the icon up at the top right there. Yeah, download that to your computer.
Yep.
And that works really well. I downloaded 100 or so. I didn't remember that they were from 2023. I thought they were from 2024. So reader beware. I did change the blog post this morning a bit. As a surprise to everybody. Hopefully the 2024 syllabus will be available soon.
I think so. I think that they had them for each class that I attended one that didn't have any syllabus material, but it worked out okay because the person gave us his website and we could look at things on his blog. Okay, we're getting some feedback. Somebody on the panel, please mute. Yeah. I know that the folks at RootsTech are still trying to relax. Doris Haskell over there in Wyoming is saying she attended virtually. Yes, I'm quite sure they will get the 2024s up there. Thank you for showing us how to do that. I do so appreciate that. Okay. All right. Let's see what's next on the docket. Okay. We have an probably want to talk about the sharing of the screen with Robin. That will be the next thing. While we're doing that, while she's getting ready, I want to mention that we're going to be talking about a couple of interesting things. Are you ready, Robin? You sharing your screen? Okay, there she goes. All right, make that full screen so we can see it really well because we have some people watching on a laptop. Thank you. Okay, and yeah.
So this is about the new feature that FamilySearch is testing out, and it's still experimental. So to see it, you have to go to View Experiments, as I'm showing here. And then you'll see that it has different experiments available. And I'm talking about the full text. So it says expand your search with full text, and then click on Go to Experiment. Now they only have 2 data sets available.
Right.
And U.S. land and probate and Mexico notario records. They also have a video on how to improve your search. So
excellent. Tell me what you found.
I want to go. I went to U.S. land and deeds.
Okay, you've got a typo there, so it may not work.
Oops. It's not a ship?
I hear you.
I thought it was.
I hear you. You got it, babe. So you can't just click on the icon below for U.S. land. You have to type it in.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so now to actually do the search, I want to do the search on my ancestor, Margaret Carolyn.
Okay.
And so you add the plus sign to say, I want both Margaret and Carolyn to be in the search.
Okay.
So I click on search.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 1,100 plus records. One of which is from San Mateo. She wasn't from San Mateo. So I can click on record place. It shows United States, apply.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I have to click on United States, sorry. And then you can choose the state. And she was from New York State.
Okay.
And then you can choose the county. She was
Wow.
from Richmond County. So I'll apply that. And now we only have 53 results.
Whew, that looks good.
And yes. And so here's the grantor deed index, which is part of a lot of New York. You're only going to get the deed index.
Mm-hmm.
Then
So
this is her will.
Let me
which,
just mention. Let me just mention
Sure.
for people that haven't seen grantee and grantor deed indexes. So the grantor is the seller and the grantee is the buyer. And that's one of the ways that courthouses index their files, by having huge books that list the name of the grantee and the grantor, and it tells you which one of the other big books to pull down to get a document. Okay.
And the way that I remember grantor being the seller is by donor.
Oh,
so when
okay.
you donate something.
Oh, you can donate property to me anytime, especially if it's like like the tropics, you know. It would be nice.
Yes. So this is not what I wanted to show.
Oh, okay.
She has an interesting will.
I love this segment
And
because you are pulling in exactly the process, remembering to put the plus sign in front of the first name and the last name, and then filtering, so you didn't have to go through all those thousands of entries. Is this the will, 1934?
1934.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my great grandmother, and you can see that it shows the transcript over on the right hand side here of what it says over here on the left hand side. And you can download both the transcript and the picture. Sorry. And so what it's saying, what's very interesting is, my husband, Patrick, having been well provided for by me during my lifetime, and because of the trouble and suffering he has caused me, I give him the sum of $1.
Oh, whoa.
So she wasn't happy with him.
I see that. Well, this is cool.
Okay, so
Now,
to down.
Oh, just a
Go ahead.
minute. So what we're looking at, folks, is AI being used in a good way. And in this case, it's interpreting typewritten text, which is not always that easy to interpret, because sometimes, you know, the old typewriters, the letter E would be up a little bit, so the transcript might not be perfect. But the character recognition of handwriting has come a long way in the last 2 years since last we met on Mondays with Myrt. Take it back. Giving you the mic, Robin.
Okay, so to download the full transcript and the pictures, so you see include record images and highlights, no highlights, don't include the record image. So you could just do that. And you just click on download, and it will go to where you specify. And it comes up with the default file name of transcript, and I would change that to transcript of will for Margaret.
We all have different file naming schemes.
Yeah.
And so you're going to want to, but at least you're going to want to give the image and the transcript the same beginning part of the file name, so that they appear together in your folder.
Right. And this download downloads a PDF that includes both the image and the transcript. So it's one file.
Okay. I love it. I agree with Valerie there. She says it's great to see the steps to do the full text search. Thank you for doing that. Yep. Go ahead. Wow. So I don't always like PDFs. When I want to be able to see the document when I attach it to somebody in my genealogy program. I'm going to have to make a sticky note. Remember how I used to do that, guys? Of what I want to talk about in an upcoming Mondays with Myrt. We were going to talk about then PDFs to a image file, like PNG or JPEG. All right, that's over here on my monitor. We're set. Okay, Mike, back to you.
So you can see that it looks like almost everything here has to do with Margaret T. Carolyn, who was my great-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
But here's one for Margaret J. And you'll notice that it also highlights Margaret. And these are not all about her. Some of them are. I haven't examined all of them,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll see that it goes during her life, well, except for this one, 1827. This is not, she wasn't born then. So this is definitely not her. So you need to pay attention to the time, and you can actually change the time up here. Record year. And the
Okay.
fortunate part for me is that it's both, I have her both in 1800 and 1900. So it's difficult for me to specify one or the other. But what you can do here is, oops, sorry. In 1800, I don't want to see the 1820, 1880, and
so you can filter things out as well
yes,
as filter things in. Yes.
correct.
Okay, this is pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Thank you for doing this. The actual demo is I love that real-time demo. I'm going to ask my co-host to bring Randy up. I just shared in the chat Randy's post. There's several people that have given some pretty good step-by-step or definitive comments about how to use this new full text search. Okay, let's see. And let me ask you, I'm going to ask somebody, please, would my co-host please turn off the screen share for now? Or Robin can cancel it. Okay. Randy, did you have any specific challenges when you were doing this full text search? I haven't done it at all.
I've done quite a bit now, and I wrote my post a week ago, and so I've learned a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do exactly what Robin did.
Mm-hmm.
I just put a name in without the pluses.
Okay.
And as far as I can tell, the results are about the same. So do you want me to share my screen?
I'm pulling yours up, theoretically, possibly. There we go. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But, okay. So I wanted to deal with Cornelius Feather, and who is my fourth great grandfather, and I don't know his wife's name. I don't. I know his last wife's name was Mary. Okay.
Okay.
So So knowing that, then I just put in Cornelius Feather in the beginning, and he was in Mercer County, Pennsylvania before, for half his life. And he was in Trumbull County for a good portion of his life, early life especially. And he had a girl, Sarah Feather, in 1804, who was my third great grandmother.
Okay.
And so I knew from experience over the last 35 years, once we had an indexed set of land records or probate records, that we would all find a lot more information about our ancestors. I knew that. I've expressed that several times on Mondays with Myrt, I think. And other stuff too, obviously. So
you did not use the plus sign in front.
I didn't, and the results are about the same, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Initially I did what I show there, Cornelius Feather, Trumbull, Ohio, because I knew I'd already looked in Mercer, Pennsylvania. And since then, I've learned to use the filters that Robin showed a bit of, the record year range, the record type, the record place, and the record collection.
Okay.
So when I did that, then I searched, and the search seems to find, if you put a name in, or if you put any of those terms in, the search will, if they're all together in one page, the search will put them at the top. Okay. Now, if you got Cornelius Smith and a feather bed later in the page, it'll find that too. Okay. But it seems to put the name, if a name's in proximity, the first name and the last name are in proximity to each other, it will put that in.
Yeah, this is making sense to me.
So it's that Trumbull, Ohio, U.S. deed 1831 was one of the first things I saw. And it was a game changer. It was a game changer.
And you'd never seen this document before?
I'd never seen this document, but I never searched Trumbull County before either. I could have on microfilm. But these things are hard to find sometimes. So so I clicked on that one, and you can show the next slide. And I filter the results down from 3 million to
oh my gosh,
50 some. But with that, of those 3 million, the two deeds that mention them are at the top. Okay,
that's
and
way
cool. And they're sequential. The 1831 and the 1833 are one right after the other. So going to the next screen, and so you can see that it highlights the words I have, Cornelius Feather especially, and there were 4 pages here that had 2 deeds, and so I captured the 4 pages. And how this fits is Cornelius Feather, his last wife was Mary. I didn't know when they married. I figured it was before 1850 when she appears in the census. But I didn't know how far back that went. I thought maybe it went back as far as 1830. This deed is 1831. And so in this deed, Cornelius Feather and his wife, Mary Feather, are mentioned, along with 6 other children, or children and their wives, if they're male, children of Thomas Patridge and his wife, Carolyn Pelton. Now, and this is they're quitclaim deeds, the 2 deeds. The first deed, 6 of the kids quitclaim to a 7th kid, David, the 2/3 of the land that was owned by their parents. Okay. In the second deed, Catherine, the widow of Thomas Patridge, deeds her dower third to the same child, David. So
this is just amazing.
Yeah,
You've got a whole family unit being described here.
They were all the living people too. You know,
Yeah.
there's no will, no probate case, estate case for Thomas Cather's that I found.
Yes.
I've looked. So this says that Mary, at least, is a daughter of Thomas and Catherine Thomas. They're really Thomas and his first wife, Hannah Wakeman. So,
Randy,
yeah.
do you see this replacing indexing?
It eventually, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
But you have to be careful. The first page of this 4-page set says Cornelius Feathers. Okay. If I search for Cornelius Feathers, that comes up. That first page comes up. I only search for Cornelius Feather. And
without the S.
They could abbreviate Cornelius. They can misspell Feather. They can misspell Cornelius too. It seems to find some of the common alternative spellings of names and things like that. So this was revelatory for me. I would love it, and it's only these. I don't think that all of the probate records available on digital microfilm at FamilySearch are in this set yet. It's property and wills and not probate and land. There are other categories in the filters for a number of terms in the record types. Here I've used legal, and that includes court and property and wills. So things like intestate probate files aren't here. I don't believe. I may be wrong.
All right. Let me bring some comments in from the community for a minute.
Yep.
There's tons of good ones. First of all, Doris is thanking you for bringing your attention to all of this, and thanks to Robin for the demonstration. Frank, our panelist, who's in the wings here in the backstage area, says it's not geo-restricted, so he could use this even though he's over there in Germany. Let's see what's next here. Holding a family reunion. Thank you, Shelley. And Marion.
Yeah, I was very happily surprised by that fact, because normally when we see some cool stuff from over there in the United States or so, we look over there and then, I can't play with it because it's geo-restricted or something. Or you have to pay much more to use it in Germany than you would have as a user from the States. So seeing that it is not geo-restricted and we can use it as well, that's simply amazing.
I am thrilled to hear this. Yeah. All right. Hillary, you said over on the YouTube side, you haven't looked at it for UK records because there are none available. And you do UK. You live in Wales, but most of your research is in England, is it not?
Yeah, I've got England, and I've got touches onto Wales, but not direct ancestry in Wales. But when I saw this on the RootsTech thing, I thought, yes, this will be really useful at some point. But I knew that it was only certain US groups that it was on at the moment. But I have been doing other things, which I think I put in the chat as well.
And so Robin's example was with type text, and we were pretty happy with the transcript. And Randy, this is handwriting. Would you say the typescript on the right side, was pretty good?
Yeah, I think that the transcript is fairly good. I have a lot of other probate records and deed records where the handwriting is terrible. So I'm not sure. I haven't tried to look for those yet, but I probably will, just to demonstrate. Let me point out that if you can see it on this screen up at the top right, next to the underlined full text to the right of that is groups, and that is where you would find a source citation. Okay, a family search source citation. So you're going to have to do it from the real screen. I can do that if you want.
Okay, get ready to share your screen and they'll bring it up.
Yeah, what do you...
But while you're doing that, while you're getting ready to share your screen, wait a minute on that, Hillary. Let me pull in some more comments. Monique said she did the thing with the quotation marks, which took it down to 29 results, which sounded good. And just a minute, we're getting there. Got to get through these comments. AI handwriting with reading the handwriting will help. Yes, let's see. Gives you the family unit. I think everybody's pretty darn excited about this. Here's our Louis Kessler, also up in Canada. You know, we got a lot of Canadians and a lot of Mac users that have tuned in. Yeah, full transcript searches are problematic if the name is common. Somebody's giving me feedback, and I think it's still Ed. Ed, would you mute yourself? We'll try that and see what's going on. Thank you. Now it's gone away. So it is you. I don't mean to pick on you, hon. Okay, and I think I have one or two more. Actually, Betty Lou just tried this, and this is helping find the Bosches in California. Cool. Great start. Transcriptions do leave a bit to be desired. I'm still getting the feedback. It could be me.
I tried sharing my screen, and it's not showing.
Okay, well.
Is it because the comment is on the... There it is. Okay, good.
Yeah, I can... Yes, I just asked her not to put it up right away. So there she is. Go ahead and put it up.
Okay, so now can I click on things here, or do I have to go to my other screen?
Yes.
Okay.
But we're not... Yeah, is that his shared screen, Hillary?
That's mine.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. And you can see it, right?
Yep.
Okay, good. We're all learning.
Yep.
So here at the top, I used Robin's thing of the plus, Cornelius plus feather, and I've looked at legal for record type, and I've looked at record place, and
yes,
restricted it to filter to Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I do this, then and that was the screen that I had before.
Right.
Here is the transcript, and up here at the top, under group, it's actually image group data.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me information about it, where it's from, historical record collection. Oh, I can use that in the source. And further down here is a citation. So it tells me more information about an archival reference number, that type of thing. And I can click on more, and then I can copy
and paste. Yes.
Bingo.
We love that.
Bingo. So that's the important thing I wanted to show. The next slide from before.
Okay.
The previous image had all the people and what was happening and things like that. So one more thing here, and that is that we have to understand that these are records that have been digitized by FamilySearch, and they don't have everything. Okay.
True.
Like I can't find Massachusetts deeds after 1880 or so, at least in Worcester County, because they don't have those on the FamilySearch images. So there's still a lot in courthouses. Some of the wills that are available are there. and in some states up to the 1980s, I think. But in many states, only up to the 1900 timeframe, approximately. And then perhaps the intestate estate papers aren't included here for some reason because they aren't wills. That's probably another 100 million pages.
Okay.
So
okay, let's switch gears and see what we can accomplish next.
Can I just say one thing? In addition to using the plus, you can also use a wild card. So for Margaret, I could
ordinary Boolean search.
Right.
Okay, sounds like a plan. All right, we managed to do a one practically 45 minutes on one topic, and this is but we needed to try it out, and to see it live in 2 demonstrations was pretty darn good. Thank you. Okay, what I'd like to do next is pull Leave up. I also want to ask one of the panelists to go to our Trello board and share also the post written by Lisa Gorell and Kimberly Powell and others that have their take on how to use this new innovative AI. Man, getting feedback, a lot of feedback. Yeah. All right. So we're just going to have Leave. Let me pull this up and share my screen with you. Okay. First of all, we have a visit from Duluth. And let me get ready to share that. And also, we're going to talk about something that happened last summer. Very excited that I got to be part of all this. So I'm going to share my screen and pull that up. We had a lot of fun last summer, didn't we? Leave.
Yeah, we had a nice launch party.
Yes, we did.
You were so gracious to host it for us.
Well, I thought I'd never come back. I thought I'd retired, but well, I guess I'm not a person of my word. Nah. All right, let's move everybody else down except for the co-hosts, me, and our Leave. That way we can cycle people from backstage up. All right, so why am I looking at your blog first? Talk to me about this.
In our book, I wrote a book about Norwegian genealogy together with Margaret Strand. And 2 of the main persons, they emigrated from Norway. One to the United States and the other to New Zealand. And the one to the United States is on this picture. And she's here called Ane Sonesson. She married a Swede in Duluth. And they ran a business together, and it was quite successful. They even could afford to go to Florida every winter to vacation. Good. Yeah. And this person, she's a really remarkable woman because the odds were against her and her parents for a long time. But coming to America, she went from rags to riches. And here, if you enlarge the picture, we can see it more clearly. I think it's interesting to look at all the details. My grandfather is on the left. He's visiting his brother and sister who runs this farm. And so the 2 women on the right side is the sisters of my grandfather, and the one behind them is another brother. And the last one is another farmer. But you can see that Anna and her father, they're so perfectly dressed. So perhaps she brought a suit for her father from the US so that he could look very good.
Well, that's pretty cool. So these are the 2 here in the suit and in the dark clothing there.
Yes.
You know what also strikes me? I'm always looking at architecture, And that's a very ornate window.
Yes.
And yet the siding of the home is log cabin. I saw a few of those when we came to see you and tour, and
Yeah.
you took Mr. Myrt on his ancestral tour of his former residents who also emigrated. Emigrate. I have to remember that. That's my way of remembering it. And these are things that they could like take apart and go move to the next farm if they needed to.
Yes. So this, so the timber from this house is
Yes.
originally from the 1680s, something like that.
Wow.
And has the house has been standing somewhere else, and then in 1848 it was put up again, and they had done a test on it. That's why they can say that the timber is that old.
So they know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. Well, thank you. So shall we show your book? Shall we do that part next?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I totally love it.
So
I actually have 2 copies. I
That's
bought
great.
the one soft-sided, the paperback version. This is 8.5 by 11. And then your publisher sent me a hardbound copy, which is Leland was very nice to do that. Let me send the link to everybody so that they know. I think maybe I already did. Let's see. Here it is again. What I like especially is that Vidar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Yes, you are.
Said that is a pretty essential book, most comprehensive and relevant book on Norwegian genealogy produced so far.
If I may say, the picture on the front of the book is called Detlistugu, and it's on a museum now in Trondheim. And the things around the door is quite typical for the area.
Yeah.
It's quite elaborate. And this is the house that was used as a model for the merchant house in the film Frozen. That's why we see the small figurine there.
Yeah.
And the house is very relevant for the main character, for this lady who came from the United States, because she lived off a small cotton farm close to Detli. So her cotton farm was called Detli Rønning, implying that it was a cotton farm, not a big farm.
Okay. Jill is saying it's a great book for Norwegian genealogy. She has it. And Jill is one of our panelists. She's working the YouTube side today. Diana loves your book. And True is saying, yay for you. You did it. You made it. It's pretty awesome. Thank you also, True, for working on the YouTube side. I appreciate all that. Well, I hope that your book continues to help. We should mention that you live in Norway.
Yes, I do.
And you were born there, right?
Yes.
And your co-author, Margaret Strand, was born in America, was it?
No, Scotland.
Oh, Scotland, that's right. But I could still understand her English. But she lives in Norway and helps people at is it a local family search center? Where did
she helps at the History Center and another local association.
So between the two of you, you know how to deal with all of us throughout the world that don't live in Norway, and we don't know where your records are kept. And this is what comes out in your book. But you also help people in Norway. The book is in English, guys, so you can understand it. Okay. Anything else before we switch topics again? It's pretty good. I'm really proud of you. I should mention that Diana Smith helped you, look through your book. She was more active than I was at the time for your editing, because of course I was dealing with Mr. Myrt and his illness, and thank heavens he's okay.
We're very grateful for the help that Diana gave us. We had a first edition, and we decided to work on with it. So Diana read both of them.
Wow.
And it was very valuable advice that she gave us.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty darn cool. Well, I'm proud to have worked with you on the launch party, and congratulations. I'm proud of you. My dad used to say, my dad, who was always very exacting and would make us pronounce things perfectly, would say, proudly to you, which is not good English, but I'm saying that, Lee, proudly to you. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Pretty darn cool. All right, so next we're going to talk with Pat Kuhn. So let's have Leave go to the backstage, and we'll pull Pat up. Pat, you had an interesting thing happen. We need to, I'm going to pull up your work here, just a moment, because we're going to do some fun things with what you did. You did some research, so you're a genealogy PI.
One of my cousins contacted me. Her and her brother were looking into a house fire that had taken some children.
Oh.
And her brother thought it was in the 1980s sometime, but couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wondered if I would be able to find something. And I looked in newspapers.com, and I didn't find anything. And then I went over to, I hadn't used it in quite a while, was Genealogy Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I found these two little articles, which kind of surprised me because, I mean, it's obvious it took place in Upper Darby, PA, but I could not find a local paper, either Philadelphia or in Delaware County, we have the Daily Times. I couldn't find anything in a local paper. And
really,
one came from Erie, Pennsylvania, which is the most northwestern part of the state, totally across the state.
Yeah.
And the other one was in Springfield, Massachusetts, in their paper.
So you just never know what gets picked up through the news.
I know. Well, you can see the one from Erie Times has AP in the parentheses. So, and then the other one says UPI. So it's these stories are going out to these other areas. I mean, I've seen that in the past, like in an obituary or something, it'll say at the bottom, certain area papers, please pick this up.
Yes.
Because it's where the person came from. Or they have family there. But I just really found it interesting that I could not find it in a local paper.
Well, you just never know. And what you're doing for our listeners and those who will watch the recording of this is to remind them not to overly edit when they're doing a search. Remember how in our BYU full text search, they were getting very specific when they had 2 million responses. But you might need to look at something that's even in another state. I mean, Massachusetts takes a little while to get from Massachusetts to Pennsylvania.
So, go through a few states. I've done it.
Yeah, exactly. And if the traffic's bad, all bets are off. But I digress.
Yeah. So they're the grandchildren of one of my mother's first cousins.
Mm-hmm.
That died in this fire.
Well, one of the things I wanted to do, let me pull up my, let me hide that, pull this up. One of the things that I wanted to do with your work today, with your contribution, is to craft a newspaper citation.
Okay.
And we've all been, ordering this new Evidence Explained book. And there's a new chapter 3, which makes it a lot easier. I mean, the whole book, I don't even know how many pages there are.
Yeah, I haven't gotten it yet. I'll have to get it.
Well, it's on sale right now. Let me give you guys this link for Evidence Explained 4th edition. I think I gave it before we even went live. There you go. As we're accustomed, Elizabeth Schoen Mills, the author of Evidence Explained, has very detailed sample citations. Thank you, Randy, for looking it up. 739 pages.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, just only because I think the other one feels like it was bigger. But the 3rd chapter, it's new. And what it does is take you to coming across or summarizing for you, these are the elements that we need to include in our citation.
Right.
Okay. And yes, there are templates that she has in there for magazine articles and things like that. But this is exactly from page, let me pull up the right page so I can, page 101 to build a citation. And I'm now looking on page 103 to get these building blocks, these basic things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, who created the article? And this is how we'll go forward and try to figure out a citation.
Okay.
I'm going to move this off the screen temporarily sideways like that. I pulled your 2 clips, as I asked you for these in advance, in my Snagit. It just happens to be the photo editing program that I'm using today. You could do this in Paint or any other program where you can edit a graphic. And what I'm going to do is pull down using this little handle here to create space so that I can insert a text box. And here's the text icon up here. And I'm going to adjust the color because, well, we'll make it red so it stands out. And this is where I will add the text here.
Oh, cool.
And I want to do this frequently to get this into people's minds. When you've got a picture like Leave had, where it's got all those individuals and you want to list their names left and right, you scan the photo and maybe all that writing's on the back of the photo itself.
Right.
This is a way that you can add it without destroying or writing on top of the individuals. But that's also where you can put a citation. So let's go craft one. This is the one from that was shared by UPI, Fire Kills Two Brothers.
Right.
Let me minimize this and pull up Word again. Come on, Microsoft Word, where are you? There you are. Okay, so using this concept, let's start crafting a citation, okay?
Okay.
So, what was the newspaper?
Yeah, I have mine.
Well,
I have mine written.
oh, you did it already.
When
I
I printed it out, I write.
Okay, tell me what you've got and I'll type it.
Okay, I put that it from the Union, the Morning Union in Springfield, Mass.
Okay.
And then it was in the paper Saturday, 3 August, 1985.
So 3 August, 1895?
1985.
Okay, you got to help me. That I'm a crazy girl. Let's put it that way. Okay, so these are some of the things: the date and the year,
right?
The publisher.
Then I put accessed from Genealogy Bank for March 2024.
Okay, did you have a column number or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
that was
Let's change the year to 85. You did say 85, yeah?
1885?
1985.
Okay, got it.
19. 1,
19.
9.
9.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And do you have a web address for where you got this?
Genealogybank.com.
Okay. Okay, so the publisher, so this is a two-tiered thing. You didn't actually look at the newspaper in person holding it in your hand. So we're describing this in a two-part type of citation.
Okay.
We're going to refine it, don't worry. And so it was published at Genealogy Bank, and that is https:// and you can see where the citation that Randy looked at that he could copy and paste from his land record could be just copied and pasted in that same text box there in your graphic editing program, Jenny. And then you accessed it when or viewed?
4 March 2024.
Okay, so now let's look at this. This is what we have. I'm going to pretend that I copied it from the website because that saves a lot of typographical errors that like old Myrt here would likely do. We'll go here, and I don't want it to have a shadow. Come on, go away, shadow. Okay, so I'm going to now paste it. Oh, great. Just a second. Z. Come on. You have to be in the text box, Myrt. Come on. Okay, so that's better. All I did was expand it. Apparently, we're not doing red. All right, so we need to, what we need to do is give it a title. Fire kills 2
brothers.
Yeah. And I use the upper and lower case the way they did in the article itself.
Yeah.
Okay. So back here on our list, we said we needed a title and a description. And I would put, I want to hear from people. Would you put the names of the individuals? William and Charles, what's their last name?
Kruger.
It was published in the Morning Union. Now, when it's like a chapter or something in a book, you can put the quotation marks around it. The Morning Union can be italicized. Now, I'm not perfect on citations, but I know we need an end quote. What does that citation look like for you? We've got the title and a description. I think that's descriptive enough, don't you?
Yeah.
And then we have, I don't have Upper Darby.
Yeah, it happened in Upper Darby, PA.
Okay, so
that would be location. Didn't I see something on that list?
Yeah, let's say
or about location.
Yeah. Upper Darby. Okay. Now that's interesting because this other part, otherwise you'd think if you didn't put that Upper Darby, or we could say of Upper Darby. How about that? What do you think of doing it that way?
What about a page number, Myrt?
Say again?
What about a page number?
Yeah, we have.
I don't have. There is no there. Genealogy Bank doesn't give you that like newspapers.com.
It's very,
like a
very
page or a
tricky.
column.
Yeah, what you have to do, if it's been snipped, you're stuck. At least we know the date of publication.
Yeah, I
So,
made sure I got that.
It's not a perfect citation, but do you think it's enough?
I think, see, I like to have the page and the column and all that too. But like I said, it didn't show up
Yeah,
on
it can be
Genealogy Bank.
tricky. Yeah, it can be tricky. Randy, you came on screen for a reason. Did you want to say something? You've muted yourself, apparently. Remember, when you're on Backstage, you don't have to mute yourself. It mutes automatically. Okay, can you? Yeah, go ahead. He did not want to. Okay, so we can put him back stage again. Here's the thing, folks. To me, if we also had the page number or at least the page number, then I wouldn't have to go page by page, but I would easily spot that headline as I scanned the page. At least we know that it was published at Genealogy Bank. And here's the thing. We could be totally nuts about our citations. And this is enough to get us there. If you were going to publish an article, then the editor of that particular journal or newsletter might direct the composition or the layout of your citation. But let's look at our list. We have who created it. If there was a byline here, that would need to be part of it. We have the date, the year, the publisher. Yeah, we've got that information. Okay. Anybody else want to comment? Let me go look at comments to see what people are saying.
Paul put in, it's on page 2, column 2.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
So it's a different place to look for it on Genealogy Bank. You know, every website has different ways of dealing with it. So we need to say that, okay, Morning Union of Springfield, Massachusetts, and then it is column 2 or page 2.
Page 2, column 2.
Okay. All right. So this lower part that I'm highlighting in blue right now, I hope you all tell me, folks, if you can't see it as well.
I see it.
Okay. I want to hear from people on the YouTube side too. Thank you, Nadine, for coming by.
I've started a couple. Randy said something about putting imaged and page number, and then Jill said something as well.
Okay, it's all good. Okay, and thank you, Dr. Shelley. She can see it just fine. Okay, so the first part would be if we were going to be looking for the first part not highlighted is the newspaper citation. And then the part as Paul has helped amend. Boy, I love this interaction with the folks on the YouTube side, don't you? It takes 42,000 of us to get this citation right.
It takes a village. It takes a village.
It certainly does. But that part highlighted in blue tells what you actually looked at. You weren't looking at the actual paper. You were looking at it online at Genealogy Bank. Right. And that is a layered citation. Okay. Yeah, good. That's how you do it. It's very sad. I can't imagine the parents. It's a terrible thing to have happened. But if we were to save this now, this is what you will see, and the citation stays with it. Now, I want to mention something technical, folks. I'm going to stop my screen sharing. I have had people say we need to put this all in metadata, which is a technical term for going behind the scenes of a image to put information. The trouble is that sometimes when you upload that image to share it with certain websites, including Flickr, they don't pull the metadata. I want the citation right on the surface of the image, not obscuring the item itself. And I just showed you how to do it. And almost every week we're going to do this because I know that our attendees won't be here almost every week. So we will have that. We'll have that refresher course. Yeah. So other people are finding it in Erie, and it's a longer one over in the Times.
Yeah.
I think that might be this one.
This is
this really long one.
the one in
So,
Erie.
well, let me go get my citation here.
Yeah.
And but it's not exactly the same.
It gives more information.
Yeah.
Myrt,
So,
a lot of people in the comments are being very helpful with, well, it should be this first and then that, or this should be this way or that way, which is all accurate. But isn't the point of what you were presenting the fact that we don't want to get caught up in all those details?
yeah, because I have seen people who've come to talk to me on Mondays with Myrt, where they crafted a citation the way that they felt they had followed Elizabeth Shown Mills, and then they submitted it to one of the scholarly journals like NGS or the HistGen's register, and the editor had them do it slightly differently. It's an art, not a science. So thank you for bringing that up. Wow. I sure appreciate those 49 likes that you've noticed out there. Oh gosh, I go to click and then somebody else somebody else makes a comment. I appreciate that. Wow. Hillary, you're good at this, as is our True Lewis, of going ahead and making a comment back and forth, and I can pick it up here right within StreamYard. I kind of like this technology. Okay, let's go see what's next on. Oh yes, we'll save our changes. Okay, what's next on our docket? Let me go find out. And our time. Okay, let's talk with Ursula, and then we will talk with Simon. All right. Now, Ursula, do you want me to share the screen? We've got to pull her up. Here we go. Hi. Oh, you're already sharing. Good. So I actually saw this post when you made it before you contributed it in our secret Facebook group, and thought it was fantastic and a good thing to share. So tell me what's going on. Can you zoom in so we can see it better?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yes. Now, of course, we're looking at German. It isn't like I could.
It's a German marriage record, obviously. It's from 1862, and it's from Brandenburg, Prussia, northern part of Brandenburg, very close to the border of Mecklenburg. And we have a very interesting column here, and the column says, so it's a marriage record. So if the bride was already married, and how the marriage ended. And there are 3 or 4 ways, but on this page, there are 3 ways. One is the Jungfer, and that means maiden, but it might even mean virgin. Here he probably means maiden. The second part is what we see here in the third line, deflorata. And the deflorata means she's not a virgin anymore. And he probably knows that because they're pregnant. So not only are they pregnant, you can see that they're pregnant.
It's obvious, yeah.
It's very obvious. And I found this page because my my great-great-grandfather's first cousin is listed there as a deflorata, and she gives birth 3 weeks after the marriage. So she was pregnant.
Right. So,
and then we have the other listing in that already has children and is marrying the father of her children. So
wow.
she has
So
2
there's
children.
an actual printed form in 1862, and the priest is very concerned about legitimacy.
Exactly. And this is uncommon. It's not that I haven't seen it before. It does happen every once in a while. But I looked at the neighboring parishes and I hadn't seen that. So he's very picky, so to say. And what it means for us genealogists is that we really have to look for every single entry when we have these kind of this kind of information, because it means if we see a deflorata, it always means there will be childbirth in a certain amount of time. So it's probably in the next 4 months.
To look for a christening. And do we call them christenings?
Baptisms.
Baptism or christening, yes.
Yeah. So we should always look before when we look for children, and we should also look right after. From the day of marriage, we should also start looking at the baptism, even if we don't find these kind of remarks. But I've had this several times. But this obviously makes it easier because you know something's going on, and you should check.
Yes.
Right? But I had my great-great-great-grandparents who married very close by, and she already had an illegitimate son by him, and he was 4 or 5 at the moment, and the marriage record does not say. So I never knew. I knew there were 7 children, and I only found 6. And I simply didn't realize that there might have been a child born before the marriage. And it was also not born in Brandenburg, but even in Mecklenburg. And the child died. So that's, and the death entry said where it was born and the age. And it also said that it was born illegitimate, but acknowledged. So, but it shows that we really have to, when we're working with church records, that we really have to look into every single column. And even if it's hard to read, it's really, really necessary to look at every single tiny piece of information that we find here, because it might lead to other findings.
Yeah, you can draw inferences that lead you to other documents.
Exactly.
This discussion reminds me of Warren Bittner. Warren Bittner has a presentation that he does called Bittner Bastards of Bavaria. And he had a couple in his direct ancestry who had met, I don't know how many children, I can't recall that part. But because of finances, they weren't able to get them mentioned in the church records until much later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we find that we don't really find that on the countryside. It's not that common. It does happen, but it's rather uncommon. But we find it in the cities, especially in the worker districts of Berlin. That's very common. They sometimes 4 or 5 children baptized on one day.
Yeah, exactly. I think their issue was they never got married because of the money. And I have oh my gosh. All right, we're going to go over today, guys. That's all there is to it. I have an alarm that lets me know I have 5 more minutes to go, and we haven't talked to Simon yet. I want to compliment you, though, on your citation. And this website, how do we say this? Archeon?
Archeon. It's archive. The German word for archive is Archiv. So that's why they're called Archeon.
Okay, and this is an Archeon is gathering digital images of, in this case, church record. Isn't it principally church records?
It's only church record. It belongs to the Lutheran churches of Germany.
Okay. And again, this isn't all the churches in Germany. This is a great collection for the Evangelischen churches.
Exactly.
And I'm sure I didn't say that correctly, but
yeah,
you know.
I love working with it. It's my favorite. Even if they are on other databases, I always work with this one. They're not indexed though, but if you do research the German way, you're very focused on the country, on the place. Mm-hmm. So in that case, working with Archeon is much easier, better, I think.
I totally get it. I'm very excited. I mean, the things that have come forth each year to make our research easier is just incredible. But we need experts like you and others who are most familiar with the records and what seems normal versus unusual, and quirky handwriting, no less. Yeah, the old High German script is different, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a little YouTube channel where I do little small tips. It's only 2 to 3 minute videos.
Okay, share that link. Tutorials. Yes, you please share that link in the chat here, and then they'll be able to get it on the other side. It goes over there directly. Thank you, Ursula. Now I'm pulling up my guest for today, Simon, and let me go to your website. First of all, Simon, thank you for joining us. We have a joint friend. Tell who introduced us and well, I'm just so excited about the program. I can't even tell you. Let's say that.
You're talking about the wonderful Jen. Jen
Yes.
Our friend in Minneapolis.
Yes. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. I've got to be able to have you turn that on. There we go. Okay. So Jen has introduced us, and she knows that I love talking to people that I haven't met before. This is your website. We are, and .xyz, not .com. And I'm going to show you a video, and then I'm going to talk with Simon about social family history websites that I'm going to create one for my family. This is what old Myrt has been looking for. I hope I told it. Let me check my screen share. I'm going to do it again because you have to click a certain thing to tell it that you want the sound to come through. Okay. Okay, it's got it. I did it correctly and just didn't trust myself, guys. I'm learning. This is the one that I want to show you, I think. Here's how it works. Here. Can you all hear that sound? Dang. Can you hear on the outside? Let me know, because I did click the switch. All right. I'm going to show it anyway, because it's amazing what you've got. Wow. I totally agree with Dr. Shelley, who says, oh, I love this. Okay, I thought I would cry at a different part, but Simon, you're making me cry. You've got a super cool website called We Are. And this isn't just a website where it's about pedigree charts and family group sheets, is it? Talk to me.
Sure. Well, thank you for that. Sorry to make you cry.
It's a good cry.
Well, when we finished the video, we looked back and we said, this is good, but we said there's no happy moments in it, which was
Yes.
there should be, really. Yeah, so what this is, I suppose in its essence, it's an online web platform that allows us genealogists to basically create a family archive on behalf of our family.
Yes.
And that's different from making a family website. So I'm a keen genealogist. I reached a point where I wanted to share it with my family, and I started making a website. And I found myself wanting to do all sorts of things, like have, you know, sub trees, separate trees of different families, trees for different stories, document editors, transcribers, all sorts of things. And it was all just too hard. And even if you make a website, and I did make quite a nice static website, the thing that struck me was that it's just me centric, right? It's my statement about my family history to impart to my family who will take notice for a while. Whereas what I'm really trying to do is share my family history and give everyone a share in it. So the platform here is different from a website. You can, if you're in the family, you can log into the family's archive. And when you get in there, you'll find this rather annoying person called Simon, who happens to be very busy in it. But you can get busy in it too if you want. And crucially, everything that my cousin or my brother or my second cousin, etc., experiences, when they enter their family's archive, it centers on them. All the trees, all the content. In fact, we're just finishing off a filter that filters out all the sort of you don't have to see all the stuff that you're not directly descended from. And let's say your cousin's wife starts taking an interest in putting in loads of her stuff. That can be filtered out. So it's really important that it gives a personal centric view of one's family history. But apart from sharing our work and what we've done, the real objective here has been to crack the time-old problem of how to actually reliably hand on your family history and have it passed down the generations. And to do that, set against the fact that you cannot guarantee that your living family today is necessarily that interested. You know, we all experience a complete range of interest in our work, and some of us find it very perplexing. In fact, I find it very perplexing. For example, my brother has no interest whatsoever, and it breaks my heart, really, actually, to be honest. But it's a truism you see a lot. Like, some people really don't care at all. So how are you going to make it survive anyway? And what we've designed the platform to do is to say, well, look, the family historians put in your family history, the beyond living memory, and bring it up to, your grandparents, etc. And what it does is it inspires nostalgia in your family. So they go in and start thinking, well, what about my childhood? What about raising my kids? And they start.
What about the wedding last weekend? What about the ski trip that they took, but I didn't go on? If they upload from their camera and talk about it, then then it's not lost in our iPhone, cell phone.
That's it, exactly. So you've got three sort of stages. One is beyond living memory, which the genealogist puts in there. And then everyone starts to get nostalgic and puts within living memory. And the final part, which you're talking about, Myrt, which is really the most exciting part, is living history, like putting yourself now. I've just been on vacation. I've just been to RootsTech. I'll probably write it up and put a footnote that it gave me COVID, which is I'm just getting over. Thank you very much, RootsTech. Like the fantastic vacation camper van holiday I had with my son 2 years ago, and all this sort of stuff, my nephew's wedding. And if those come together, then you've given your family a functional, useful environment. And so you've really maximized the probability that all our work to do with our family history gets passed down to the generations. And because we can never be certain, right? you know, we need to apply ourselves to everything. You know, back up physical copies, download to different storage devices, put a copy with FamilySearch, etc. But with this, we're trying to make one central place where everyone feels at home, putting in themselves and their past. And although it's a bit, I apologize, it's a bit of a marketing sort of statement, but you know, like, try and make it a part of the family. If the family knows it has an archive at its center, it doesn't have to use it. It just knows it's there. And of course, the database, which is the family tree and all that information, knows who's alive, and it knows when next generations are coming along, and it taps people on the shoulder and says, well, I think your child's of email age now. Perhaps you ought to get them into the family archive.
Okay, and it makes sense to keep them involved in this platform, in this space that we create online, by having them get excited about sharing. You know, I can see saying, tell me about the ski trip, upload them to this site. Remember, you have the membership. And then they are subliminally taught, oh yeah, there's your whole family tree over here if you want. It's the combination of it's sort of, to use old parlance, it's sort of like your family tree plus message boards, but they're very dynamic and interrelated. And you can tag things. And the reason I wanted to have Simon come talk to you now, and for me to have shared that video, which I agree, those were good tears, was that I'm going to start building my own family archive. And I think the word here is living. It isn't all about the dead. This is like an amoeba that's going to grow and expand this way and that way and whatever, a nice amoeba. We only have nice amoebas, right? And make this work for my family to think of. You know, I only have at 73, I don't know how old I'm approaching my 75th year. So, you know, I've got X number of years left. I need to share in a way that's dynamic and exciting and interactive, and that all my family, my daughters, not just Carrie, who's going to inherit some of these Hollinger boxes of archived special documents, but my entire family can contribute here. And this is the gift of We Are. And this is what Simon brought to me, and thanks to Jen for letting me know about it. Oh, golly. I said we were going to go over a little bit, and I am so sorry that we had to go over. Thank you so much for being here and visiting with me today, Simon. What I'm going to do is create these mini Myrts on an ad hoc basis. Like, I can guarantee I'm not doing one this afternoon. I'm going to be pretty exhausted after all the excitement of Mondays with Myrt. And I will post in my Dear Myrtle Facebook group that it's going live. And those of you who are now subscribed, and this, I would like you to subscribe definitely, you will receive a notice when I go live and do this. So hit that subscribe button, and that way you'll know when I'm doing something else. And so for the next little while, I'll do a mini Myrt of exactly what it was when I first logged in. When I first logged in, and I didn't go any farther, there was an orientation. And I want to, Simon has given me permission, folks, to use the videos in my mini Myrts so that I can help show you what I'm learning, and we'll pause and go try that as I learn it. And I'm sure from time to time he may kind of hang in with us occasionally. I don't know. All righty. Thank you, Simon. All right, Hillary, can you set me up? We'll have Simon go to the backstage, and I want to just mention a couple of little things to everybody. Okay, I'm getting comments from the YouTube side from my panelists and everyone who are trying to share a web address. Now, a safety feature that's built into YouTube is that unless I have added you as a member, which is different than a subscriber and doesn't cost you any money, you cannot share a web address. You'd have to send it to us some other way. You can see we could, be inundated by folks who aren't playing the game too nicely. We don't want that to happen. Okay, let's see what we can do. So what I'm going to do, you'll notice that True Lewis could send things. That's because she's a moderator over there. I could send things that included a URL. So all of my panelists will be given that status because they're actively engaged in sharing what we've planned to talk about with you each day. Gosh, we got through less than half of the things that we planned today, but that's a-okay because it's all about the conversation and what comes up. All right, and thanks for helping me today, Ed and Hillary and True and all of my panelists. Each one of you, you become so precious to me. I just can't tell you. And so there's nothing left to say but happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.